Diabolical things I want in a man. Number 1, height. My man's gotta be above 6'2". My last 2 boyfriends were 6'3". Both of them. And they were jacked. And they looked really good. How am I supposed to downgrade from that? So, unfortunately, my next man will have to be 6'2" and up.
This reveals the fundamental sickness of the modern female mindset. They view men as interchangeable objects with measurable attributes rather than individual human beings with unique qualities. She's not looking for a partner, she's looking for a status symbol. She's not seeking compatibility or connection, she's hunting for bragging rights. This woman has turned dating into a shopping experience where she's comparing specifications like she's buying a luxury car. But here's what she doesn't understand. Those 6'3" guys she dated, they weren't downgrading when they left her. They were upgrading to women who didn't treat them like walking resumes. When you view men as nothing more than their physical and financial attributes, you attract men who view you the same way. And once they get what they want from you, they move on to the next option because you never gave them a reason to stay beyond surface level attraction.
Number 2, he cannot have a salary cap. Whatever career he's in, he needs to have multiple streams of income, and we need to be able to make as much money as possible. That's why I will never date a guy who works in like corporate. What is your 100K salary cap gonna do for me?
She's not asking what she can contribute to a partnership. She's not wondering what value she can add to a man's life. She's explicitly asking what a man's money can do for her. This is pure parasitic thinking. A $100,000 salary puts someone in roughly the top 20% of earners in most areas, but to this woman, that's insulting. She needs unlimited earning potential, multiple income streams, and the ability to make as much money as possible. She's not looking for a husband, she's looking for a human ATM machine with unlimited withdrawal limits. But notice the complete absence of any discussion about what she brings to the table. There's no mention of her own contributions to this hypothetical partnership. She's operating from the assumption that her mere existence and romantic attention are valuable enough to command unlimited financial resources from a man. This is the height of female entitlement, the belief that men exist to fund women's lifestyles in exchange for access to their bodies and companionship. The really insidious part is how she frames this as standards. These aren't standards, they're demands. Standards imply reciprocity, mutual value exchange, and realistic expectations based on what you bring to the table. This is just straight up gold digging with a feminist veneer that makes it sound empowering instead of exploitative.
First I was freaking out and I was like, I'm going to be alone till the day I die.
I'll say it because everybody else is too afraid to. The modern day woman needs to lower her standards or she is going to die alone.
Finally, someone with the courage to state the obvious truth. Modern women have priced themselves out of the relationship market through impossible standards and inflated self-worth. They've created a situation where only the top 5% of men could possibly meet their requirements, and then they act shocked when 95% of them end up single. Women would rather die alone than admit their standards might be unrealistic. They've been told their entire lives that they deserve everything and should never settle, so the idea of adjusting their expectations feels like betrayal of their own worth. This is the fundamental delusion of the modern woman. They believe they're all tens who deserve perfect men, regardless of what they actually bring to the table. They've been brainwashed into thinking that lowering standards is giving up on themselves. Many of these women could find loving, committed relationships with good men if they were willing to prioritize character over cash, personality over physical perfection, and compatibility over clout. But they've been conditioned to see anything less than their fantasy as failure, so they choose loneliness over compromise.
He literally says that he thought he was ready for a commitment and he's not. And that seems to be the common thread in the dating world. Like, men who say they want commitment and then they turn out and they don't want it. When the woman actually is a woman that is like wifey material, it scares the crap out of them and they don't know what to do. And so then they decide like, oh shoot, I don't actually want this. I told that boy, you fumbled the biggest bag you've ever had in your entire life. F you.
This woman just accidentally revealed the truth about modern female behavior without realizing it. She's complaining that men get scared when they meet wifey material and decide they don't want commitment. But she's completely oblivious to why this happens. Men aren't scared of good women, they're scared of what modern women call wifey material. Because in today's world, wifey material often means a woman with impossible standards, unlimited financial expectations, and a laundry list of demands that would make a corporate contract look simple. Men aren't running from commitment, they're running from the modern definition of commitment, which has become a one-sided deal where men provide everything and women provide access to themselves. When a man meets a woman who immediately starts talking about his height requirements, salary expectations, and lifestyle demands, his brain correctly identifies this as a trap. He realizes that this woman isn't interested in building something together, she's interviewing him for a position as her personal provider and entertainment committee. The men who are scared of commitment are actually demonstrating healthy self-preservation instincts. They're recognizing that the modern version of commitment is fundamentally different from what their fathers and grandfathers experienced. It's not about mutual support and partnership, it's about men signing up to be permanent servants to women's unlimited expectations and demands.
Here's a fun fact. All women are expensive. Pick one in your price range and shut the fuck up. Okay?
This statement perfectly encapsulates everything wrong with modern female thinking about relationships. She's admitting that women view themselves as products with price tags, and that men should shop accordingly. But she's missing the obvious question: what makes you worth the price you're demanding? When she says, all women are expensive, she's revealing that women collectively believe they deserve financial compensation simply for existing in relationships. Not for contributing equally, not for adding value, not for being exceptional partners, just for being women. This is the commodification of female companionship taken to its logical extreme. But here's what she doesn't understand: men are increasingly deciding that the price isn't worth what they're getting in return. When you price yourself like a luxury good, you better deliver luxury value. When you demand premium payments, you better provide premium service. Most of these women are charging Ferrari prices for Honda Civic performance. That "shut the fuck up" part is particularly revealing because it shows her frustration with men who are starting to question the value proposition. Men are beginning to ask uncomfortable questions like, what do I actually get for this investment? And why should I pay premium prices for average quality? And instead of answering those questions with compelling value propositions, women like this just tell men to shut up and pay whatever price is demanded.
I think one of the major issues I have with now's dating pool is that men want to be treated like women. And what I mean by that is men want to be courted. Like, what do you mean? I say, oh yeah, I've seen you before, and you tell me and you didn't say nothing to me? Sorry, I thought I was the woman. Like, no, I'm not going to approach you first. You're a man. Like, come and talk to me first. No, I'm not going to ask you on a date. You're the man. Take me on a date. No, I'm not touching my own door. No, that's what you're here for. No, I'm not paying for this date. That's what you're here. Like, what is going on? Men, they don't want to chivalry is dead. Men don't want to be gentlemen. I don't know what's going on. Me as a woman, I'm not telling you I want you. I'm not doing that. Especially if we both know there's an interest there. You know what I mean? Like, come and get what you want. I, as a woman, should be waiting for you to court me. I should not be sitting here like, come and talk to me. Like, what's going on? Like,
men didn't suddenly become feminine, they became smart. They looked at the modern dating landscape and realized they were doing 100% of the work for 0% of the appreciation. She's upset that men aren't approaching her first, aren't asking her on dates, aren't paying for everything, aren't opening doors. Basically, she's mad that men aren't providing free labor and financial services to women who show nothing but entitlement and ingratitude in return. But she frames this as men wanting to be treated like women, which reveals her unconscious admission that women are the ones who traditionally get courted, provided for, and catered to. The truth is that men adapted to the new reality that women created. Women spent decades telling men they were strong, independent, and didn't need male protection or provision. They demanded equality in all areas of life. So men said, okay, and started treating women as equals, which means women now have to do equal work in dating and relationships. But apparently, women only wanted equality when it benefited them. They wanted equal pay but not equal responsibility for dating expenses. They wanted equal opportunities but not equal obligation to pursue and court potential partners. They wanted all the benefits of liberation with none of the costs, and now they're shocked that men aren't willing to maintain traditional male obligations while women abandon traditional female contributions.
Men are fucking done, and at the same time, women at home are saying, where are all the good men? All the good men were ruined by plenty of women. They had money taken from them. They had their finances fucking crumble because of some women. They had their children taken away from them. They lost jobs.
Finally, a woman who understands what actually happened to the good men that other women claim to be looking for. This isn't a mystery that requires investigation. It's the obvious result of decades of men getting destroyed by the family court system, divorce settlements, false accusations, and weaponized relationships. The good men didn't disappear. They were systematically eliminated by a legal and social system that incentivizes women to destroy men who invest in them. Every man knows multiple examples of good guys who did everything right, provided for their families, tried to be loving husbands and fathers, and got absolutely decimated when their wives decided they were bored or found someone else. These men lost their children, their homes, their savings, their reputations, and sometimes their careers because they made the mistake of trusting women who viewed them as disposable resources rather than life partners. And other men watched this happen and learned the lesson. Investing in modern women is a high-risk, low-reward proposition that destroys more lives than it creates. But notice how she frames this. The good men were ruined by plenty of women, rather than acknowledging that women collectively created a system designed to extract maximum resources from men while providing minimum commitment and loyalty in return. She's still not taking full responsibility for what women have done to the relationship market.
They tried to give and give and give all the fucking time, and all these women did was belittle them, disrespect them, mental abuse, physical abuse. There is so much abuse involved now that the good men are fucking done. They're not gonna sit there and listen to the BS no more. They're not gonna sit there and keep being disrespected. A man wants one thing in a relationship more than he ever wants love, and that's respect. And if you can't provide him with that, move the fuck over.
This is probably the most insightful thing said in this entire compilation. Men don't need to be worshipped or treated like kings, but they do need basic respect and appreciation for what they contribute. And modern women have completely forgotten how to provide either. Instead of respect, men get constant criticism, comparison to other men, and demands for more. Instead of appreciation, they get taken for granted, blamed for everything that goes wrong, and treated like they're lucky to be in the relationship at all. Modern women have turned relationships into performance reviews where men are constantly being evaluated and found lacking. The woman who said this understands something that most modern women have forgotten. Men are human beings with emotional needs, and the most fundamental need is to feel respected and valued by their partners. When women provide this basic requirement, they immediately stand out from 90% of other women who are too busy making demands to show appreciation for what they already have. But this insight is so rare among modern women that it's shocking to hear. Most women have been conditioned to believe that men should be grateful for female attention regardless of how they're treated. They think their mere presence in a man's life is such a gift that men should accept any level of disrespect and ingratitude. This is why good men are walking away, not because they don't want relationships, but because they refuse to accept relationships that are fundamentally disrespectful and one-sided.
Why is it if you're out in public, right, and you see a girl, give them a little smile, why don't you just start a conversation?
Thank you to everyone who commented. I am still very fascinated by this. I should have prefaced with saying I get approached a lot in public.
I don't know what's going on, and somebody please tell me if you know, but men no longer approach women, right? You'll be somewhere and you'll catch a homie staring at you, right, from across the room. Leave that vicinity and never say anything to you.
What you just witnessed is a complete exhibition of everything that's wrong with modern women's approach to dating and relationships. These clips reveal the fundamental delusions, impossible standards, and parasitic mentality that have destroyed the relationship market for an entire generation of men and women. Let's start with the most obvious problem: the complete commodification of relationships. Modern women don't view men as human beings with intrinsic worth and individual qualities. They view them as products with measurable specifications that can be compared, upgraded, and discarded based on purely transactional criteria. Height, income, physical appearance, social status, these have become the only metrics that matter, while character, compatibility, loyalty, and emotional connection are treated as irrelevant luxuries. This transactional mindset has turned dating into a shopping experience where women are constantly looking for better deals and upgrades. They don't form genuine bonds with men because they're always mentally comparing their current option to theoretical better options. This is why modern relationships are so unstable. They're built on materialistic foundations rather than emotional connections. But the real sickness goes deeper than just materialism. These women demonstrate a level of entitlement that would have been unthinkable in previous generations. They genuinely believe they deserve unlimited financial provision, constant entertainment, and complete catering to their preferences simply by virtue of being women. They offer nothing in return except access to themselves, which they've convinced themselves is valuable enough to command premium prices from men. This entitlement is supported by a completely delusional sense of self-worth. Average women with average jobs and average personalities have convinced themselves they deserve men who are exceptional in every measurable category. They want six-figure earners while they work part-time retail. They want 6-foot-tall men while they're 5'2". They want fitness models while they're overweight. The mathematical impossibility of these standards doesn't register because they've been told their entire lives that they deserve everything and should never settle. What makes this even more destructive is the complete absence of self-reflection or accountability. When these impossible standards lead to loneliness and relationship failure, women blame men for being inadequate rather than examining whether their expectations might be unrealistic. They would rather die alone than admit their standards might need adjustment, because lowering standards feels like admitting they're not as valuable as they believed. Men who could be good partners get filtered out for failing to meet arbitrary physical or financial requirements, while women reject potentially compatible matches in pursuit of impossible fantasies. Meanwhile, the small percentage of men who do meet these criteria have so many options that they have no incentive to commit to any individual woman. This creates a vicious cycle where women chase the same small group of high-value men who have no reason to settle down, while ignoring the majority of men who would actually make good partners but don't meet the insane requirements. The result is a dating market where most women are competing for men who don't want commitment, while most men are ignored despite being willing and able to provide it. The feminist programming that created this disaster is particularly insidious because it convinced women that having impossible standards is empowering rather than self-destructive. They've been told that refusing to compromise is strength, that demanding everything is self-respect, and that men should be grateful for any female attention regardless of how they're treated. This programming has also convinced women that they can have all the benefits of traditional female privilege, being courted, provided for, protected, while abandoning all the traditional female obligations, being supportive, appreciative, loyal. They want men to maintain traditional male roles while they abandon traditional female roles, creating relationships that are fundamentally unbalanced and unsustainable. The men who are walking away from this system aren't weak or scared of commitment, they're rational actors who recognize a bad deal when they see one. Why would any self-respecting man sign up for a relationship where he's expected to provide everything while receiving nothing but criticism, demands, and ingratitude in return? The woman who said men want respect more than love accidentally revealed the solution to this entire crisis. If women could remember how to appreciate what men contribute instead of constantly demanding more, if they could show respect instead of contempt, if they could express gratitude instead of entitlement, the relationship market would stabilize overnight. But this would require women to abandon the victim mentality that allows them to blame men for everything while taking responsibility for nothing. It would require them to acknowledge that relationships are partnerships that require mutual contribution rather than one-sided extraction. It would require them to develop realistic self-assessments and adjust their expectations accordingly. Unfortunately, everything we see in these clips suggests that most modern women would rather maintain their delusions and die alone than make these adjustments. They've been so thoroughly programmed to believe they deserve everything that admitting they might need to contribute something feels like betrayal of their own worth. This is why the relationship market is collapsing. It's not because men are inadequate, it's because women have created a system that's mathematically impossible to satisfy and emotionally unsustainable for everyone involved. Until women are willing to return to reality and start treating relationships as partnerships rather than extraction opportunities, the situation will only get worse. The 45% of women who will be single and childless by 2030 aren't victims of male inadequacy, they're casualties of female delusion. And the saddest part is that many of them could find happiness and fulfillment if they were willing to prioritize substance over superficiality, character over cash, and partnership over parasitism. But that would require admitting they've been wrong about everything, and for most modern women, dying alone is preferable to admitting they were wrong.